Okay, so today we're getting pretty close to the end of the class, huh? It's been about 5 weeks. This is week 6. And today we're going to do a little bit of warm-up to remind you of some other stuff we learned a little while back. And then we're going to review HTML and CSS. And then you guys get to start working on your final projects.
Yay!
That's pretty cool, huh? So before we start, we're going to do a quick little matching game. So can anybody match this div point here to something on this side? What does div mean?
Oh, I know. A division.
Yeah, so a div is a division of your code. So, how about position? Michael, do you know what happens when you use position in your CSS?
I don't remember.
Positioning changes the position of something on the page, so it changes where it is. Can you find a bullet point that maybe fits that?
Is it changes where something is on the page?
Yep. So that one goes to this one. All right. How about this one? Dot peach. So there's only 2 bullet points left here. Can anybody guess what dot peach would do?
Selects the class Peach.
Yep. So that goes here. And then it's pretty obvious, but I'm going to ask anyway. What would happen if you use the p tag?
It's a paragraph.
Yep. So this isn't everything we learned, but it's a little snippet of what we did. So now we're going to go over to the computer screen and I'm going to review some more of the stuff we learned, just so you have it fresh in your memory before you start your final projects. All right, so today we're going to review a little bit of the HTML and CSS that we used over the past 5 weeks. So we're going to start with lesson 1, what we learned there. So does anybody remember how to put a heading on a page?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Can we use H2?
H2, you can use H2, let's do that. And we're going to say this is our HTML/CSS review. So now we have to close this tag. Anybody remember how?
Yeah, we use the slash. And
Yes.
then H2.
So /H2. We've closed our heading, and now we're going to put a paragraph on the page. Anybody remember how to do a paragraph?
P.
P. So we remembered how to add a paragraph. Now, if I wanted to bold the word remembered, how would I put that in bold?
Do you use I?
I is for italic.
Oh, it's B.
B for bold. So we remembered how to add a paragraph. If I wanted to put add in italics, how would I do that?
That's I.
That's I, that's right. So we're going to say how to add a paragraph. And then there's one more to remember. So we're going to underline the word paragraph. Anybody know how we would do that?
Is it UL?
Close is just U. UL is for bullet points, which we never learned actually. So close that underline tag. We remembered how to add a paragraph. So that's pretty cool. We're going to make a new paragraph tag over here, and we're going to put a link inside of it. So for a link, we start with A, but then what do we put after the A?
Style.
Style is for other things. You can use it. No. Source is for images, but that's pretty close.
Give us a hint.
It's a reference to somewhere else on the internet.
That's a bad hint.
A bad
Give
hint?
us a better hint.
No, I know. It's ref.
Close. It's href for a hyperlink reference. So, what are we going to link to today, guys?
Google?
Sure, we'll do Google. So, we went to Google. Let's get that address. So, cut this, go over here, paste it in. And then, what text are we going to put inside this link?
Welcome.
Welcome. So let's close this link and then close the paragraph too. And Next, we're gonna review how to put in an image. So, what tag do we use for images?
Image.
That's pretty close. So, how do you spell image in HTML?
Always ING.
IMG, that's right. And now, how do you get the source for the image? What do you type?
Source. S
S?
R C.
Yes, that's right. So you get image source. And let's go over to Google here. And what should we look for a picture of?
Google logo.
Google logo.
Are we recreating Google website?
We're gonna make the Google site right now, guys. So let's go to images. Do we want this kind of Google, this kind of Google, or this kind of Google?
The second one.
This one. All right. So we're gonna view image, and then head up here, and then cut the source. Cut. Move over here, and paste in that image source. Finish that tag, and let's scroll up here. And now we have the Google logo. There's one more thing you can do in HTML. So if I wanted to put this image inside of a division, what code would I use?
Div?
Yes. So we're going to put div here, and then we have to remember to close our div. So let's close that. So now our image is inside a div. And with that, we've reviewed pretty much everything we covered in HTML, so now we're going to move over to CSS. So in CSS, you can alter the style of a lot of things. So if we wanted to select a paragraph and change the color, how would we do that?
There was a squiggly
Yes,
Yeah,
we do the squiggly braces, but if you want to select the paragraph, you have to go before the squiggly braces, right?
Oh yeah, it's P.
So you put P here, press enter, and if we wanted to change the color of that to, let's say, blue, how would we do that?
I don't
Color.
Color.
Or is it background color?
Background color would change the color behind the words, but if you wanted to change the color of the words, then you would just say color. So let's say color, and then we wanted, what color did we want? Blue?
Sure.
Sure. All right. So, colored blue. And now, we remember how to add a paragraph is in blue, but our title is still in black. So now that we've reviewed color, let's talk about our header for a second. If we wanted to select our header, what would we do?
H1.
We would use H1 if we used H1 on this side.
Oh.
But remember, we wanted to use H2. So we're going to do that. And if we wanted to change the font family, how would we do that?
We put font.
Font. That's close. But remember when you're doing CSS, you have to be pretty specific to tell the computer what to do. So we have to say font-family, and then a colon. And then, what font do we want? Do we want to do Comic Sans MS like we did on our Apple page?
Can we try something different?
Sure. Does anybody know any other font names?
Trebuchet.
Trebuchet. It's pretty fancy for a middle schooler. Is it Trebuchet or like MS?
I think MS.
Wow. And look at that, our header is a different font. Let's also change the size of the font. How would we do that?
Font dash size.
And then let's pick a number. Anybody got any ideas for how big our header should be?
Can we do like 3 pixels?
3 pixels, let's try it. Oh no, where did it go?
It's right there, guys.
There it is. Okay. So 3 pixels is pretty small, and whoever's reading your website might not be able to see it. So what do you say we make that maybe 30 pixels?
35.
35, sounds good. There we go. That looks a lot better. And now I can read it. So we have our color, font family, font size. If we wanted to put this text in the middle, how would we do that?
Oh, I don't remember.
If we wanted to, we could use positioning, but there's something you can do with text. Remember, you can align it.
Text align.
Yes, so text align. And then, how do we say middle for the CSS? Do we say middle or do we say something else?
We say middle.
Let's try it. It doesn't look like it's moving. Remember in the CSS they say center instead of middle, so let's try this. Center, and there it is. Now that that's in the middle, looks pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna move on to a div, because we put our image inside a div, right? So our div is down here, our Google logo, and we're gonna say that, what kind of background color do we want on this div?
Pink.
Pink. Okay, so how would we do the background color?
Color.
Color. Alright, let's try it. So it doesn't look like anything on this page is pink.
Oh, background.
Background color, let's try it. So background dash color dash. And now the background of this div is pink. So does anybody remember anything about the CSS box model?
There was ID in class.
Those are, you can use those, yeah. But IDs and classes can be used with anything, not just the CSS box model. So does anybody remember how to say how wide something was?
Width.
Width. All right. How wide should we make this div?
60 pixels.
60 pixels. So that makes our Google logo. Does it?
Where'd it go?
Or what? Huh. So our picture is still pretty big, which is kind of weird. Let's see.
What if we changed just image to 60 pixels?
We can try it. So let's
Okay.
see. Image with 60 pixels. So now let's see. Oh, and now it's small again. If I wanted to put a border on this div, how would I do that?
Border.
Border. And then remember we have to say how big it is, what color it is, and what kind of border we want.
Can we do 3 pixel?
Yeah, so 3 pixels. And then what color do we want?
Red.
Red. And then do we want it to be solid, dotted, or dashed?
Dotted.
Dashed.
No.
Dotted. I want it
Dashed.
dotted. Okay, so we can do a compromise. We'll put one dotted border on this one, and then we'll put a dashed border on something else. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay, so 3 pixels red, and this one will be dotted. And then if we wanted to put some padding in between the Google logo and the border around it, how would we do that?
Padding.
Padding. And how much padding do we want?
20 pixels.
20 pixels. So now we can see that the background color is still pink. It's right there. And then with border padding, and if I wanted to put 5 pixels of space on every side of this div, how would I do that?
Oh, wasn't it margin?
Yeah, so margin, and then how would I do the pixels? What do I have to type here?
Something.
So remember for margin, and pretty much everything else, you just type the number you need, and then px. And now this is moved over
Okay.
by 5 pixels. So now that we've gone over the CSS box model, we're gonna do something with IDs really quick. So somebody give me an ID for this paragraph.
Google.
Google. Okay. And this one, with this ID, we're going to give it a dash border. So can anybody remind me how to select something's ID in CSS?
It's a hashtag.
Yes. So we're going to hashtag Google here. And then we're going to say border. How wide do we want?
10 pixels.
10 pixels. And what kind of color do we want?
Green.
Green. And we're going to do this one dashed because the last one was dotted. And there we go. Because we have 2 paragraphs here. We have this paragraph and this paragraph, but because we put the ID on this paragraph only, then only this one over here is going to show up with a border.
Let's do class this time.
Okay, we'll do a class. So let's give both of these paragraphs a class. What class should we give them?
Microsoft.
Microsoft. Okay, so both of these paragraphs have the class Microsoft. And what do we want to do over here to select a class?
Dot.
Dot Microsoft. Awesome. And then, let's see. How about we do something with the positioning of these divs? Or of these paragraphs? How would I change the position here?
Can we make everything fixed?
Yeah, we can. Let's see how that works. So position, and then we want it fixed. And then, ooh, looks like everything's stacked on top of each other. Do we want to put in some top and left coordinates maybe?
Sure.
So let's see, how many pixels away from the top should everything be?
Like 100 pixels?
100 pixels from the top. And how many pixels from the left? What do you think, Michael?
50.
50 pixels. So let's see. Let's put this page up here. And everything is down 100 pixels from the top and 50 pixels from the left. But because we still have this Google thing here, it's kind of a mess. And also these two paragraphs are like right on top of each other. So do you remember any other kinds of positioning we could use?
Can we... I don't know.
Let's try relative positioning. So remember how relative positioning moves stuff away from it where it's supposed to be? So let's put that in. And now everything is back down here where it's kind of supposed to be, but it's still on top of the Google logo because we pushed it down so far. So this is our IDs and classes and positioning review. And actually, that's pretty much everything we learned in CSS and HTML over the last 5 weeks. So now I'm going to hand out this worksheet, and this has the specifications for a final project. In your final project, you're going to have to use at least 4 of these things. And here's a checklist. So if you please take a look over it. If you have any questions, come up and ask me.